Before we get started, a quick reminder that I'll be returning as a guest on the next episode of We Make Books, which should be hitting the feed on January 5th, 2021, talking about the process of trunking things, which I'm, I guess, an expert in. A huge shout out to Rekka and Kaylin for inviting me back on the show. Hello, and welcome to Tales from the Trunk, reading the stories that didn't make it. I'm Hilary B. Bisnieks. It's awards season once again, and while I've already made my obligatory awards post on social media, that doesn't do a whole lot if you don't follow me or the show on Twitter. So once again, I'm collecting awards information for the show and all interested guests here in the feed. This show, Tales from the Trunk, is once again eligible for Best Fancast, and is my only eligible work for 2020. Sarah Gailey, who appeared on our very first episode in March of 2019, is eligible for the Lodestar and other YA awards for When We Were Magic. They are eligible for Best Novella for Upright Women Wanted, one of my favorite books of the past year. In the Best Short Story category, they have the following eligible stories: We Don't Talk About the Dragon, Drones to Plowshares, and Tiger Lawyer Gets It Right. They're eligible for Best Related Work for their essay, Everything is the Hunger Games Now, and for Best Fan Writer for their newsletter, Here's the Thing. A link to their awards post will be in the show notes. R.K. Duncan, our May 2019 guest, has 3 short stories eligible for Best Short Story: Raff and the Scissor-Finger, Clever Jack, Heavy with Stories, and For Every Jack. Additionally, their poem, Witness, is eligible for various poetry awards. A link to their awards post will be in the show notes. Valerie Valdes, our July 2019 guest, is eligible for Best Novel for Prime Deceptions, the excellent sequel to last year's Chilling Effect. A.J. Hackwith, who was on the show in September of 2019, is in her second year of eligibility for the Outstanding Award for New Writers. The Archive of the Forgotten, the sequel to last year's stellar debut, The Library of the Unwritten, is eligible for Best Novel. Alex Rowland, who came on the show in October of 2019, is eligible for Best Novella for Finding Fairies, and Best Fancast for Be the Serpent, along with our October 2020 guest, Jennifer Mace. Primi Mohammed, who joined us in November of 2019, is eligible for Best Novel for her debut, Beneath the Rising. The following are eligible for Best Short Story: Everything as Part of Its Infinite Place, The Redoubtables, and Restoration of Function to Biochemical Structure 34 using Iterative Molecular Construction Techniques, Teaching an Old Dome New Tricks. She is eligible for various nonfiction awards for her essay, An Empathy of Fear, and her appearance on John Scalzi's Big Idea feature on his blog, Whatever. A link to Premi's awards post will be in the show notes. Sharon Shu, our December 2019 guest, is eligible for Best Short Story for And All the Trees of the Forest Shall Clap Their Hands. Macy, aka Jennifer Mace, who joined us in October of this year, is eligible alongside their podcasting compatriots Alex Rowland and Freya Marsk for Be the Serpent in the Best Fancast category. Macy's stories Upon What Soil They Fed and In the Salt Crypts of Jarell are both eligible for Best Short Story. Silk and Steel, a queer speculative adventure anthology, is eligible for the World Fantasy Award for Best Speculative Anthology, and Saltwashed is eligible for Poetry Awards. John Wiswell, who joined us in November of 2020, is eligible for Best Short Story for Open House on Haunted Hill. Finally, Fran Wild, who will be joining us on the show in 2 weeks, has the Cereal Box serial Machina eligible for Best Dramatic Presentation Longform, along with Malka Older and Curtis C. Chen. Links for eligibility posts, as applicable, along with all the works mentioned on this episode, will be available in the show notes. Tales from the Trunk is mixed and produced in beautiful Oakland, California. Our theme music is Paper Wings by Ryan Boyd. You can support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/trunkcast. All patrons of the show now get a sticker and logo button, along with show outtakes and other content that can't be found anywhere else. You can find the show on Twitter at Trunkcast, and I tweet at HBBisnieks. If you like the show, consider taking a moment to rate and review us on your preferred podcast platform. And remember, don't self-reject.